We're going to be talking about goal setting, essentially, is what we're talking about today. And I'm going to help you to plan out the rest of your year, 2022, so you can finish it on a high. So first up, the review. Okay, I want you to review what's happened so far. So this process is actually easier if you'd already set some goals at the start of the year. Okay, so it's because that's going to help you to look back and see what you've achieved and see whether what you've achieved is in alignment with the original goals that you set. Okay, so if you didn't set any goals, don't worry, you can still review what happened in the last 6 months. The first step that we're doing here is I want you to list out your biggest achievements. Okay, what have you achieved already this year in 2022? What have you already achieved? What are the wins? What progress have you made? So for the students in our programs, we do this every single week, right? We track the wins and progress because, it's easy as business owners to constantly be looking towards the next goal without ever appreciating how far we've come or the things that we've actually achieved. And I think, this is so important in order to stay upbeat and positive as a business owner, okay? Because let's face it, this business journey that we're all on, it's not necessarily an easy ride. It has its ups and downs. And so anything that you can do to keep track of the progress that you've been making, the wins, big or small, is going to help you to stay upbeat. It's going to help you to stay positive and motivated and empowered to keep moving forward. So, when you look at your achievements, you could include hitting income goals, or maybe something that you've launched, or perhaps trying something that you were scared to do. So moving outside of your comfort zone in a particular area of your business, that's an achievement. So really look at all of these things, but also look at the data, because your business data, and trust me, you have a lot of it. If you start to dig under the layers, you do have data, but your data in your business can reveal so much. So spend some time gathering that data, right? And, from the last 6 months, and record it somewhere. Maybe open a spreadsheet, however you want to do it, but make sure that you're recording data in your business. And you should be doing this anyway, guys. This is like a business, pop on your business hat. This is a business task, a CEO task that you should be doing. It helps you to kind of get a bigger picture of things, right? So we're doing a big picture review, and to gather some of the detail around that. So really kind of like, look at the money and the money you've made, look at the marketing that you've been doing, really review and record what went down, So for example, maybe in the last 6 months, you've launched a few workshops. Okay, how much money did you make from those workshops? How many people attended them? Look at this, gather the data. Maybe you created a new freebie. Okay, maybe you never did that before. So it's moving out of your comfort zone, but also B, you've created a new piece of content to help you grow your community. And, having a goal for the growth of your community is really important. So, perhaps you created this new freebie and 20 people signed up for it. Maybe you ran an online challenge, okay? Perhaps you set up some Facebook ads for the very first time. What are all the things that you did, okay, that you've never done before, or maybe you've never done them before? That doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but what are all the things that you did and that have been a success and an achievement in your business over the last 6 months? Maybe you secured a new partnership. Okay, perhaps that was something that you're really proud of that you achieved in the last 6 months. So just take stock, guys. Take stock of what you've achieved so far. Okay, take stock of what you've achieved so far in your business in the last 6 months. And then when you've done that, look at what you had to do to achieve those things. Okay, so you're going to list out all of your achievements, but they didn't just happen on their own. You had to do something in order for those things to happen. Okay, this is important. This is an important step. What actions, what habits, what steps did you take that helped you to achieve those things? Okay, so listing these out is a really great way of showing to you what activities you're doing in your business that are working and getting you results. Okay, does that make sense? Let me know, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so listing these things out, it's kind of exposing what's working in your business, the things that you're doing maybe on a day-to-day basis that are helping you to get results. So for example, perhaps you've started to use perhaps you've joined Yogipreneur Launchpad program and you've learnt about repurposing, right? You've learned how to repurpose your content. So now you've started using a repurposing process for your content every single week that's allowing you to create new content every single week. Okay, and that's helped you to achieve that freebie, that's helped you to share that freebie that's got you all of those signups. So what have you been doing? What are the actions that you've been taking to help you to achieve the results? Okay, maybe every week you've made it a task for yourself to connect with new people on Instagram, right? Maybe you've been connecting with other leaders in your niche space, and that's helped you to achieve, or it's helped you to secure new partnerships. So just take a look at this. What are the actions you've been doing that's helped you to get the results? So once you've really analyzed this and you've analyzed the achievements, you know, what could you have done better? Yeah, that's the next step to take, to have a look at. When you've looked at all of these things, what could you have done better? So this isn't to kind of be downbeat on yourself or anything like that, or to criticize yourself, but it's actually a way to get you into gear for the next 6 months, right? So perhaps these are things that were part of your goals at the start of the year and they've kind of slipped through the nets and you've forgotten about them. Or maybe you haven't forgotten about it, but you've been procrastinating on it. So, you know, it might be that you knew at the beginning of the year that you wanted to set up some automations in a particular area of your business because you're doing something in your business and you're doing it every week, but you're doing it a long-winded way, right? And you know that if you only just spent some time setting up that automation, you wouldn't have to keep doing it this way every single week. Just take a look at what are the things that you can be doing better, okay, that are actually going to help you to save time and energy and effort. Or maybe, you know, you said you were going to launch something, but you haven't launched it yet because you're scared that no one's going to sign up, okay, which is actually the wrong mindset. Because, you know, if we're seeing everything as a lesson, okay, remember I said before that there's no failures, there's only lessons. If we're seeing everything as a lesson, it doesn't matter about the results, okay? The first time you launch something is going to get you closer to getting results. Okay, it's going to give you some lessons, it's going to give you some data, and then it's going to give you the drive to go and launch it again and make it better. So unless we take the first step, we're never going to make it better. So maybe there's something that you said you were going to launch, but you haven't yet because you were scared no one was going to sign up. So really that's showing to you that we need to work on your mindset. Work on the mindset, start to embrace failure and start to see failure in a new light. Okay, it's a really, really great, it's a really powerful and strong mindset to have as a business owner. Is there anything that you're no longer going to do? Okay, because you recognize from this review that you're doing that it's not working anymore. Okay, so you can drop those things. Okay, are there any things that you've been doing that aren't getting you results, right? So have a look at that. And, if there are, do you need to continue with them? So what I'll say here is, obviously don't just scrap things that maybe you could give a second chance, because not everything that you do is going to work within 6 months. Okay, you might need to stick at something for it to see results, but going through this review, you will see that there are clearly some things that your time would be best spent somewhere else. Okay, there's some things that maybe you're just wasting your time with, and it's not actually achieving anything. So this is why, doing this review is super important. It's really, really helpful because it allows you to gather the data to be able to make better decisions, right? And as a business owner, we are making decisions all the time. And if we don't have that data, we can't make informed decisions. So, once we have all this information and we have clarity essentially, but we have a clearer idea or a vision of what's just happened. Okay, so we can take some of that and see where we need to go for the next 6 months. Okay, so that's when we start moving into looking at the next 6 months ahead. So first of all, ask yourself, is there anything that you've been meaning to start doing that you haven't got round to yet? Okay, so this kind of just follows on from what I've just mentioned. But are there any ideas or things that you want to try now for the next 6 months ahead? Okay, so have a think about that as well. And then we get into the exciting part, because now you have everything you need to start looking at the rest of this year. So, what's going to be your goals? What are your goals for the rest of the year? What are you going to focus on now that you've done that review? And so I think the first place to start with this is to look at the goals. If you set goals at the beginning of the year, go back to those now, look at them, and list the things that you said you were going to do. Okay, so list out your goals and work out, are they still relevant? Okay, that's the first thing. And then look at everything that you have already achieved, and then fill in the gaps. Are there any gaps there? And, what do you need to do over the next 6 months to help you to stay on track with your year-long goals? This is a process, isn't it? First of all, we got all of those steps in the review, and now we're moving on to look at the goals that you're going to set for the next 6 months. This is going to take some time, right? This involves you scheduling out some time to actually work on all of this. I want you to remember that most people, or not many people, take the time to plan what they want to happen. Okay, not many people do this. They don't plan out what they want to happen in the year ahead of them in their business. And because of that, not many people are really living the lives they want or building the businesses that they want. So always remember that success isn't an accident. It's something that you create on purpose. And a big part of that is getting the clarity on what it is that you actually want to do. What I'll say to all of you listening to this right now is that you are not like most yoga teachers, okay, who are thinking about this. You're listening to this now, you're showing up, and you have a desire to build a business that lasts. Am I right? Tell me in the chat if I'm right with that. And so, I know that you probably have some big goals, or you have some high hopes for the rest of the year, because you're an entrepreneurial yoga teacher. That's why you're here listening to me right now. So, I know that you probably do have these goals that you want and things that you want to do. And I want you to know that you can achieve so much, probably a lot more than you think you can. And, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, guys, is that the people who make massive progress each year and, who manage to actually build these successful businesses, they all do one thing. They know exactly what it is that they want to achieve. Okay, so you have to decide. If you want 2022 to be an incredible year for you, a year where you've reached some milestones and some goals that you set out to achieve, you have to decide what it is that you want. You need to write it down or put it in a spreadsheet, whatever it is that works for you, but that you then need to focus on making it happen. Okay, so many yoga teachers, so many business owners waste time because they're constantly trying to figure things out. They're constantly trying to figure out what to do next instead of taking the time up front to plan out and to create goals and to have an action plan. So, the work that you do up front, is going to help you to stay focused and less overwhelmed. So I want you all to promise me that you will carve out the time to do this, right? You will carve out some time to do this review that I've talked you through today. Yeah, the steps that I've laid out for you. Do that review first of all, and then look at the next 6 months and decide, how are you going to make money for the rest of this year? How are you going to make money? What are the things that you're going to do? What are the offerings that you are going to not only create, but share? Yeah, that you're going to promote. What are those things? And, I want you to set some goals for growing your community. What are you going to do to grow your community? What are the goals that you have, i.e. the numbers that you are working towards in terms of community growth? And not only that, how are you going to, what are your goals for your income? What are your income goals? So when you do this, when you get these goals together, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about goals in a moment, but when you do that, then you can start to plan out the rest of the year. Okay, and I think it's really, really useful to actually plan out in 90-day chunks. Okay, so at the start of 2022, when we're looking at our business here in Digital Yoga Academy, we've got goals for the year, but then we're also looking at we're looking at the year ahead in 90-day chunks. And this is really useful because you can actually achieve quite a lot in the 90-day period, and it helps you to stay focused on those 90 days with the bigger picture in mind. So you might want to do that. In fact, I encourage you to do that. When you've got your goals, then look at, it'll be 2 90-day chunks for the rest of this year. Okay, so we're going to talk about goals, but I would love to hear from you guys. How is this landing so far? Let me know in the comments. Let's see. Over here on Facebook, how are you guys? Let me know in the chat how this is landing today with you guys here in the Facebook group and over here on Instagram. If you're just joining, we're talking about goal setting, we're talking about crushing the rest of this year, we're talking about doing a mid-year check-in, reviewing all of the awesome things that you've done so far, really looking at what you need to do to improve, and then how you can plan for the rest of the year. So goal setting is the next thing I want to talk about. And goal setting allows you to get specific. It allows you to drive actions in your business, okay? And that's, we are action takers. In order to, achieve our goals, we have to be action takers. And here is where, most people go wrong. So most people, when it comes to goal setting, they only set outcome goals, okay? So write this down. So an outcome goal could look like, I want to grow my email list to 500 subscribers, okay? So that's an outcome goal. So these are goals that you could be using to measure your progress, okay? So you're using it to measure your progress, but the key thing with this is you can't fully control it 100%. Okay, so you can say by the end of 2022, I want to have 500 incredible souls on my email list. Okay, you can put that goal, you can write that goal down, but you can't really control it 100%. So what you actually need to do is set what is called process goals. Okay, process goals. So these are milestones that you can completely control. Okay, so a process goal is actually based on a specific action. It's based on a task that you're going to do. Okay, so this is why it's more beneficial to you to keep you on track. So setting a process goal means that you first need to identify what you actually have to do to achieve an outcome goal. Okay, so going back to the example, if your outcome goal is to grow your email list by 500 to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, what do you need to do to achieve that? What do you need to do to achieve that? So that is your process goal. So it's really important to understand this, and this can be like quite a big aha moment, because maybe you've been setting outcome goals and not achieving them. Maybe you've been setting the same outcome goal year after year after year and not achieving it. And the reason is because you don't have any process goals. That's why you haven't been achieving those outcome goals, is because you do not have the process goals laid out. And the problem comes when we become so obsessed about the results that we want that we forget about the process that will get us there. We forget about the actions that we need to take to get us there. So process goals are all about the process, and that process is under your control. Like when you focus on the things that you can control, that's what's going to set you up for long-term success. Okay, the only challenge is to stick to the process, right? So we need both. Okay, you need to set an outcome goal, i.e. I want to grow my email list to 500 subscribers, and you need to set process goals. Okay, that's what's going to guide you to reach your outcome goal. So you have to be intentional. You need to know exactly what your process goals are, the actions you're going to be taking, the actions you're going to be taking to reach that goal. And the more intentional you can be, the more chance you're going to have to get there. Perhaps another process goal is to pitch yourself to in every 90 day chunk, right? To pitch yourself to 30 podcast shows, right? So that's 10 a month, okay? So, that's a process goal. It means you need to go and research those shows. It means you need to know exactly what you want to talk with the host about. You need to do some research, you need to do some work there with that, but set yourself a goal each month. So you can see the process goal is a lot more controllable. You can have much more influence over its outcome, and it's a check-offable goal. It makes it easy to understand what you need to do to achieve it. Okay, so I'm really encouraging you to look at your goal setting for the next 6 months to be like that. Okay, we're not just saying, okay, in the next 6 months I want to make 50k, I want to get 500 people on my email list, I want to do this, I want to do that. What are you exactly going to do to get there? And this applies for your income goals. In order to reach your income goal, that number that you have in your head, you need to share offerings, don't you? You need to be showing up and selling. So again, process goals could be, okay, every single week I'm going to do X number of stories to talk about this workshop that I'm running this quarter. How intentional are you going to be? How many emails are you going to send out about it? It's really about being intentional with our marketing, guys, and our messaging. The clearer you can get on about this, the clearer you can be about this, the more successful you're going to become, okay? So really make sure that when you're setting your goals, that you feel truly aligned with it, with these goals, right? And that you are really working on things that you want to achieve, Because otherwise, we're not being aligned. That's when we become overwhelmed. That's when we're not you know, coming from our purpose, you know, we're not working on the things that we really want to do. So be honest with yourself, you know, when you're putting your goals together, like what are the offerings that you want to create, how you want to make money, like how you're going to grow your community. Make sure all of these things are really aligned with your purpose. And once you've done that, you can then start mapping it out into action plans. And, you know, whether you use a spreadsheet or whether you use a project management tool such as Trello, or we use ClickUp here at Digital Yoga Academy. But this is really about putting processes in place, isn't it? This is really about being more organized. Yeah, being more organized. The more organized you can be, the less overwhelmed you're going to be, really. And, you know, putting that work in up front so you know exactly what you're working on. When you open your laptop and you're doing a day where you're working on your business, i.e. you're not teaching, you know exactly what to focus on, okay? And that's really what I want for you. So thanks for being here as always. And if you are a podcast listener, if you listen to the Yogipreneur podcast, a huge, huge thank you from us at Digital Yoga Academy, from me and the team. We have now reached 100,000 listeners of the podcast. So a momentous occasion and milestone for us here at Digital Yoga Academy. And just want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you for listening to the podcast. There is a giveaway, so listen out for that. And yeah, I'll be back in a couple of weeks where I'll be sharing another milestone that we've recently hit here at DYA. And in the meantime, sending you all so much love. I'm actually heading to a retreat tomorrow and I'm taking a week off. Yay! So super excited for that and to have some downtime and to use this time to just really reflect as well. You know, reflect on what's been happening here for us in our business. I invite you to do the same and use this process, use these steps that I've outlined today. Okay, sending you all so much love. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.